Hi y'all, it's Damica.
And it's Zenebou.
Welcome back to a new edition of
DamnBoo. When shit's so fucked up,
all you can say is
DamnBoo.
Oh, Jesus, y'all. If y'all could only tell how many bloopers we just did.
If only y'all could know. This is why we need a team. Coordination, function.
We need coordination.
So
everything.
Yeah, for real. So we already, if y'all see the setup, if y'all watching us on YouTube, you know the setup is different. We in temporary housing. Not temporary housing.
Don't do that.
But we're in our homes in Boston. So this setup is looking real different. We're doing this on Zoom. Mm-hmm. Yikes. Who thought we was going to get here?
We're kind of trying something new out just in case, because me and Zen, we're going to be in different places over the summer and everything.
Yeah.
So this will be like a good time to. I mean, you can just see the crib real quick. Let me just show you. This is the visual mood board.
This ain't the time for a room tour. Now you're getting excited.
Look, next time.
Oh, and I want to point out she did get a haircut, so.
I did. I'm being an auntie.
Yep, she's giving us real auntie vibes.
Let me drive the kids to soccer practice real quick. You need the creamer from the grocery store. Okay, baby, you sit right there.
Oh God,
you sit right there.
I can't.
Did you get the fruit snacks for Billy? No. Okay.
But yeah, we're gonna start off. So we're gonna explain why we in a different setup today. Anyways, Emerson is going through lockdown.
Again.
It's crazy.
Again. We got a lot of cases, a lot of positives, which is the only situation right now where positive isn't good right now.
Yep. And we got about 3 weeks till we gotta bounce off, and this is the most cases we've had this whole semester. Everybody's booked up. I went to the dining hall this morning, and I also saw a post first thing when I woke up. Bags stacked after bags stacked after bags. I'm telling you, it's crazy, Damica.
The meals?
They was they was preparing meals for the people who was at Paramount. And Paramount is one of our residence hall, and they're using that for quarantine and isolation. But right now it's kind of, rumor says it's full to capacity.
I mean, best of luck to everyone in there, y'all.
Yes.
Because I know y'all in a really shitty place, in an environment around other people who are also in this the bad time of the semester when finals are coming up. I know teachers are up your booty holes right now. I'm so sorry, y'all.
Final season coming to a close. It's about to be wraps. But yeah, hopefully y'all staying safe. I think this is just a reminder to all of us, we gotta stay safe out here. It doesn't matter, if we about to go home or whatever. But I mean, they could have packed us up and moved us out today. Who knows? If we would have been recording this. Yeah, but enough chit chat about that. We just trying new things. It's also the vibes outside, the weather. It's kind of gloomy, so.
It is. I feel like that's why I kind of slept in today. I was like, it's a little muggy out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then so with the lockdown, we usually get our equipment from the EDC and media services. But since all of this happened, we can't get any equipment. We can't get any lighting. We can't even book the space to have group settings. And mind you too, we all be staying safe whenever we record this podcast. We do get tested, and we wear masks at all times, other than when we're doing our podcast. So just in case anybody worried, I'm y'all not wearing your masks every time I see y'all. It's for that quick little 1-2 moment, and it's back on.
No, for real. I remember whenever we're all in this space together and everything, I think we feel reassured in the fact that we all have gotten tested and everything. But you know, whenever you're outside and stuff like that, and you just need to take a sip of water, it feels like a life or death mission for a second. Especially yesterday. Yesterday was really good weather, and it was super packed. And you know, you saw me saying I was trying to drink that aloe, and I was like, and you know, back it on, you know.
It's hard out here, but you know, we gonna just roll into our first segment, voice out, show out.
Show out.
Yeah, I already know what it is. So the first people that I want to shout out is Access. There's a student disability union. And recently they just came out with the Advocacy Project. It's an action plan for disability equity and accessibility at Emerson College, made by and for Emerson, the Emerson disability community. And you can definitely follow their IG at Access, ACCESS_SDU. They also have a site linked in their IG as well. They've been posting a lot. And I realized too, like when I was talking about this with Damica, you know, even though we are a podcast and we have like auditory, but we also have visuals, we try to be like accessible, but I realized, you know, we may not be as accessible as we think we are. And that's just one of the privileges we have as being able-bodied people, and not coming across with, you know, certain disabilities or disabilities at all. And so we're definitely trying, we talked this through, we're gonna try as soon as possible to, you know, get like subtitles up and see if there's anything else that we could. But I like for their project, I like that they were able to point out different things regarding how there was one about training, how like people in campus could be trained more about how to approach students with disabilities, or like they also, with their like whole plan, they were the ones that were able to get the push system onto our campus. So it makes it easier for students with disabilities to kind of like get around campus, especially with the doors. The doors be mad heavy for no reason.
Literally.
Built. They stronger than me.
Refrigerators.
But yeah, so like and now they're pushing, they're hoping, you know, they could like get some action out to ECPD and talk about how you know, officers and people in different like positions can find new ways to approach students with disabilities and how to approach them properly. I think that's a lot we don't talk about too. And I just like that I tuned into their live. It was mad informative. It was mad good. And I just like that they were able to push out a lot, even with like share their experiences and just even talk about like what it's like with professors addressing their disabilities, or how they come out being mad rude and like
very much
just
so.
it's very nasty, and so it's letting me, it's making me realize like I got a lot to learn, and just like how we could do better also with using our platform, but also how we can implement that in our own stuff as well. But yeah,
they're doing amazing stuff on campus, and they have so many safe spaces for anyone who isn't able-bodied and everything, and people experiencing issues on campus and everything. They really bring it into light. I think one of the things that is really interesting, I've been recently been more aware about like ableist language and everything, and figuring out how to write in a way that doesn't perpetuate any notions of able-bodied narratives, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's such a prevalent thing, so you have to really keep in mind about that. And I think as a journalist, both you and me and everything, we have to, you know, be in mind on top of, you know, providing the actual practice of accessibility, also implementing the language of accessibility is really key there too. But for me, I have a very local organization here in Boston called the Radical Imagination for Radical Justice. They're partnering with the Cerdna Foundation's Thriving Cultures program to help fund Black and brown creatives and artists across Boston. I know y'all, people who haven't been to Chinatown or anything, there's different art projects that are currently in planning to be set up by Black and brown creatives around Boston and everything.
So they said, watch out, y'all.
Watch out. Like, it's so, like, I've seen certain pieces and everything being brought into light and everything, and I think it's more than time for these Black and brown creators to finally get the spotlight that they need. And plus, too, if we're talking about Boston in general, Boston's a very heavy Black and brown community and everything, so I mean we gotta make sure we even put that out there, even in the pockets that aren't as diverse or whatever. We gotta make sure we're still present and everything. I'm just saying. But their mission statement is grounded in the belief that artists of color know what is essential for the freedom and liberation of their communities. The Radical Imagination for Radical Justice has sought to support artists' creative practices in their collaborative building visions for racial justice. I think this is a very important art form in terms of activism and everything, because I know over the summer we've seen so many ways people were able to show out with their activism. I remember there's this one artist, I'll probably link them below because I can't remember from the top of my head, but I remember seeing on Twitter this artist basically drew portraits on a time limit based on their ages. So for for George Floyd or whatever, I don't remember how old he was, but basically their age and everything was like the number of minutes he had time to like sketch out this whole portrait and everything. You could see like how there was unfinished parts, you could see the different details and everything, and there was just so, even with ages as young as Tamir Rice was so like outstandingly like grave but really impactful to show that through art forms and show that through our activism. So I want to give a big shout out to y'all and to keep funding these organizations. I think the more that we put our vessels into these organizations, the more that we're also defunding structures that are oppressing us. So go ahead and do that. Yeah,
check them out for sure. It just sounds really good, and I think we're always excited to hear about different creatives, and especially Black and brown creatives that are doing just that, like you know, trying to push for justice all this time. But yeah, so that's it for Voice Out Show Out, but we definitely gonna be back for a nice more. Little segment.
Back with it more. Y'all know what time it is. It's Vent Pals. Ooh. So
y'all, we tired, okay? We was living luxury when we was recording in the building,
in the studio
when it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't really a studio, but
it was a classroom.
Yeah. But this is like our third time recording this. So we just gonna have to get with the road.
It's gonna be.
It's a hard life.
Literally, but. You know, new setup is
new setup. This is what happens when you're at home.
At home. At home, that's all I have to say.
Y'all already know what it's like.
Literally. But this Vent Pals, once again for the third time.
Literally. At this point, I just don't want to even vent.
My vent today. But this is gonna be a little different this time around because I mean Zed and I have delved into all the topics that are going on in the world and everything and how we relate to it and everything, but we never really explicitly talk about us as a whole. And you know, I love talking about me and shit, but
oh my gosh. But yeah, we never like dive deep into like who we are, you know, what was he like and like all that. Y'all gonna get some like tea, some inside scoop, on me and Damica, and know how we became who we are today. If we change for the better, you're right. You're right. And if we change for the better or for the worse. But you know what? We're just going to dive right into vent piles. So I'm going to ask you again for the third time. What was you like as a child?
Long story short, I didn't know no English. Second of all. This is the third time I said that. Basically, my mom, she's Filipino and Korean. My father is Puerto Rican. And they made me. And I was born in Seoul, South Korea, because my dad was in the army and everything. And that's where we stationed at.
Y'all already know. We be like, Damica, you a whole foreign baddie. Come on, how did we not know this?
I know. But look, enough about me. What about you? What were you like as a child?
I grew up in Brooklyn, New York.
Was she New Yorker?
Yeah, real New York. You already know what it is, okay? Okay. But I grew up in Brooklyn, like Bushwick, like Ridgewood. But like the street that I used to live on was Cornelia Street, so like by Jefferson, all that. And if you know, you know. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
But you know, now a girl living in Queens, New York, it's all right. You know, down by Southside Jamaica, Queens, and it's crazy. Let me stop.
Oh, give me a second.
LOL. That's like the only thing I could be like really proud of. I mean, I just eat, sleep, and breathe there. Like, because most of my life
was there too, you know.
You know, you already know. Nikki was down from over there. So, but I was just like, wow, it was a different life. It was a cool life. I think everything was just better when you were young. Well, at least most parts were better when you were young. And just growing up in Brooklyn and like, it was just real fun vibes. I don't know. I'm telling y'all, New York is a different story. It's a story within its own, okay? But, I mean, what year did you grow up?
I grew up in 1998 and everything. Okay, so like whenever I moved to the States, I was 5 years old and everything. We moved to California first. I was with my auntie at the time though. My parents were off doing something else and everything for work. And yeah. So I lived in a motel for like 6 months. But that was the first. Yeah, like that was actually like as a child, that was nice. Like that was a nice hookup for me.
That was basically your own sweet life, Zach and Cody.
You know, when I watched that show, I was like, so all the kids be going through this. Whenever I learned English, like picked it up like while I was like watching cartoons or something like that, or you know, hearing my auntie talk or whatever, because I grew up knowing Tagalog first, my mom's language. That's how I would communicate with her. My dad would pick up certain phrases. It'd be like, you know, he'd be like, see you at the day, sit there, like, you know, like it'd be a whole thing and all that stuff. And like he had, like, since he's speaking Spanish and everything, Tagalog are so, you know, like close, that he would just be able to pick up like, oh, she talk about that tree over there, I don't know what she's saying, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, because of like my language barrier, I didn't really talk to kids as much. And you know, growing up in 1998 and everything, you know, there's so many cultural references that I would see in America, and I'd be like, whoa, this is different. But, you know, I still vibed with it regardless of the language barrier. It was just like different because I wasn't able to communicate it with it, you know what I'm saying? Like I was such a shy kid, but not because I wanted to be. It was because maybe I don't know what you're saying right now.
I had to be.
No, the kid would be blabbling. I'd be like.
Now I could also relate to that. I was definitely a very shy, sensitive kid. And I didn't really like go out as much. I was kind of. I think a lot of New York children are like grow up to be so independent so fast. Like, I'm telling you, you got like 13, 10-year-olds taking their little sibling to daycare and stuff like they the mother. But that's only because or the father or the parent or the guardian. And you're like, you dropped this child by itself?
By itself.
You got them going to the deli or you know, I mean, the deli itself, that's an experience. I'm telling you.
I'm
okay?
jealous of y'all with that.
It's an experience. I mean, first of all, it got like 15 different names. You got the deli, the bodega, the corner store. Like, come on. And I'm probably missing out on a lot, but yeah, you would see, you know, going in, ordering a coffee, you know, let me get a butter roll or bacon, egg, and cheese. You already know, one word.
I haven't even eaten lunch right now. Like, that's why
I'm sorry.
I'd be jealous of y'all with that because, like, y'all really had to, like, just do stuff. Like, you can go to the deli, you can go to walk to school by yourself, go to transport. Like, bro, I felt so bummy on the school bus, bro. I was just like... like, okay.
But you see, the thing with that, like, we didn't really, I feel like a lot of New York schools don't really do like school buses. They do, like, you know, for if you have like lived mad far, or, you know, you have like disabilities, or, you know, just you need any form of access. But for the most part, I'm telling you, we was taking trains and buses, and you had to like learn pretty quick like how to go by yourself. Because, like, first of all, me going from, like, when I had moved to Queens, I was still going to my middle school / high school in Brooklyn. It took me about an hour and a half to 2 hours just to get to school. And so I was waking up at like 6. No, I had to leave my house by like around 6:30. So I had to wake up before then. And me and my sister, we was always taking the train and the bus until she, you know, kind of went to a school that was near us. But she still had to take the bus. But I'm telling you, them free Metro cards for the... You came in clutch, okay? They came in clutch. She was taking rides left and right, okay? And not only to school, but I'm telling you, you wanted to hang out after, okay? I got an extra swipe. We could go somewhere. But those times was mad. It was lit. And, like, just growing up in New York, like, I remember when we was, like, thinking of, like, what to talk about for this week and, like, this whole topic, I was just like, oh, I miss the summer where we used to sit out on a stoop. Everybody was blasting music from their house or from their cars. That's how you knew it was summertime. Because, you know, the music was just out here blasting. And they had, like, the water hose, like, running. So, like, that was our sprinklers, if you lived in the hood. But everybody was just going. Fun times, I'm telling you. Like, probably some of the best memories. But also, I realized, like, how isolated I was as a child. And I think that contributed to, like, my shyness. I didn't really, like, go out as much as most kids. I was mainly, like, inside, like, taking care of my, like, younger siblings.
Same. Yeah.
And so I was kind of just, like, there were times I would just be like, damn, you know, it's not fair. I want to go outside and play with them. But real. I also, like, didn't realize at the time that, like, you know, my parents were trying to make it work, you know, by working these late jobs. And my mom was also trying to get back into school and stuff like that. And so it's very different, especially the area I grew up. I grew up around mad, like, Hispanic, Latin people, and also, like, mad African people. Like, I'm telling you, I knew all my aunties and stuff. 2-3 blocks away from me was all walking distance. It was lit. But at the times, I was also, like, the younger, like, a year younger than the cousins that I kind of grew up with. And so I was kind of the one that was just like, I can't hang because, like, I gotta go do this. But yeah, damn. I was born in the 2000s. So 2000s, I think, was a lit time. I think it was probably one of the best eras. But, like, 98, 99, 2000. I feel like those were one of the best, like, couple years to have, like, a good childhood.
Yeah, I think I made, like, so basically I was in Kansas City, Missouri for a minute and everything.
Oh, so you was traveling.
Yeah, so, like, because my dad was stationed, like, near somewhere that he had to drive off into, and I would just, like, be friends with the people in the cul-de-sac or whatever. But, you know, my mama always said that whenever I was younger, she had such a big fucking problem with me taking me out, because I had this thing where I just automatically hugged people, like, like strangers.
You said,
everybody.
I'm getting friendly.
I'm getting friendly. And, like, you know, like, nobody, like, luckily I didn't hug nobody else, like, ew. But, you know, like, it was just, like, but, like, I think that was just, like, my approach to things. Like, I don't know how to talk to you, so I'm gonna be, you know, like, I didn't know.
You know,
so, like,
you was using your body language.
Literally. So, you know, I mean, growing up there was very interesting because it was very whitewashed and everything. So I had a very, like, different mindset around, like, my thing. I was feeling, you know, out the woodwork and everything. Nothing really resonated with me. Like, I was always be like, why's my hair not blonde? You know, like, different things. Or, like, why am I getting, like, hairy and shit? Like, you know, like, those type of things. But that's why I really appreciate when I did have, like, the childhood with cartoons and everything. With, like,
we love those times,
right? And, like, just being, like, a kid and being exploring and stuff like that, because me and my brother, we used to, like, do, like, kind of like these little excursions or whatever in our backyard. We pretend to be archaeologists and I'm burying shit and we gotta find it, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel you. Like, we had this literally, like, part outside, like, our apartments. Like, I'm telling you, I live right next to my aunt's house. Like, I'm telling you, I would just walk on over to the other side of the door and she was up there. I said, oh, okay. Yeah. But we had, like, this little, like, tree area, so we'd be over there digging and stuff. And that's when I knew to stop playing, because I got my first ringworm. So
yo, oh my god, no, that happened to me in one of the neighbors, like, pools or whatever, because it was so fucking wild. So, like, whenever I was little, like, I didn't, like, on top of not knowing how to communicate as well, I also didn't know how to say no as well, because, you know, my mom and dad, when they came to the States and everything, they're like, we gotta keep it low, we gotta be friendly and stuff like that and all that stuff, you know, just, like, part of, like, the anxieties of being, like, kind of, like, othered and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't know how to say no, and I remember this little girl that lived in front of me or whatever, they had this mud puddle or whatever, and they just had, like, bathing suits on and everything, and I remember being like, oh, y'all better go in the mud puddle. And like, bro, I kid you not, like, we were sitting in the mud puddle or whatever, and we were pretending, you know, I don't know what we were doing, we were just pretending to be mermaids or some shit like that.
H2O.
H2O was that shit, bro. And I remember there was this hole right next to, like, adjacent to this mud puddle or whatever, and, bro, you know, I was just, like, chilling and my hand was near this hole. Bro, tell me how a fucking frog leaped out of that shit, scared the fucking, like, plopped onto my lap. I was like, yo. And then, you know, like, the next day, I started getting, like, these, like, you know how eczema, like, like, patches and stuff? And I was like, oh, okay.
Your skin was over there screaming.
I was like, yo, it was just too much. But, you know, I think those memories of being there helped me to, like, I think that was, like, my shell. But when I moved to North Carolina and have the friends, y'all will probably hear me mention them from time to time, but Trinity and Jasmine, they're my homie, they're my day ones, you know, they're like, they are my North Carolina friends and everything, but friends for life too. So it's like, you know, that was, like, the first time, like, I got to breaking out of my shell and everything, and I got to see more people of color and stuff. That was different. So yeah, but I will say, the eras now, I can't imagine what kids are doing now. I don't know what they're doing now.
I'm like, we didn't have half this, like, when I think about it, I'm like, we really didn't have half this stuff. And, like, recently we watched Godzilla versus Kong. Let us know who y'all think actually won. But that just made me think. I'm like, we didn't even have streaming platforms or like, all these different apps where you could like binge watch and stuff like that. Everything was like on DVD and like, or you had to go make a copy or
literally.
I was like, no, it's crazy, and you had to have a DVD player in your house to actually watch it, and then you had the bootleg pirated movies as well.
Burn the disc CDs and everything. Maybe if you went to Blockbuster when it was still fucking open, you could go there. Or maybe like sometimes at the like different corner stores or whatever, they'll have like a video section.
Yeah.
Or like if you had a Blu-ray disc and you didn't have a Blu-ray player, oh well.
Yes, we're struggling.
And for music too, I think music is so different too. I know.
Yeah.
Like my little iPod mini or whatever.
I didn't even have one. I had an MP3 player.
So, as y'all can see, we did another jump cut because, technical difficulties. But as I was saying, my iPod story, y'all, my cousin saw it, that shit was theirs too. That I was just holding it just to keep it warm or some shit.
Yeah. You had to share too. I feel like every device I had to like share with my siblings.
Yeah. Video games were such a big part of my life, and then Giovanni took advantage of that. I love him to death now, but I remember when I was a kid, I really wanted to box him because, that PS2 was, that was my baby. My PSP was my baby. Those were hand-me-downs, and they got taken away, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It was just those games, but those games, I think those were my fondest memories. I think for me it was just playing video games and chilling.
Literally.
I was playing Sonic Heroes. Y'all know what it is. One day we're gonna have a nerd episode, and this is I'm a nerd out. Don't worry about it.
You see, I could relate now. I don't really play. I don't play any games at all. Y'all already know me. I mean, I might join in, or once in every blue moon. I mean, I'll play games like Jenga, Uno, and stuff like that. But like, I remember like DS's. That was it.
DS's were huge, bro.
Mario Kart, like all that.
Yeah.
And plus, DS was like advancing because you could like connect with like with other people who had DS's and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then like you could draw on it. Those were some times. Like I remember like just like when me and my cousins would play Mario Kart, we get in this big group. Everybody's over there racing each other, playing like 60 rounds. You're like, yo, we need to do something better. But that also reminds me of just like do you like ever have like when you think of like when you was back then making like dance routines with your cousins and stuff like that, and y'all thought y'all was gonna be
funny story about that. There's a video out there that I don't know if it's published on YouTube.
Guys, if you find it, send it to us.
Don't fucking do it, bro. What was it? What was the song? It was by Justin Bieber. It was Eeny. No. It wasn't Eeny Meeny Mimo. It was a.
But he was. Wasn't he featuring on that with Sean Kingston?
Yeah. There was another song though. Oh my god. I think it was Eeny Meeny Mimo. It was like Shawty is an Eeny Meeny Mimo. Bro, I was busting it. Like, I was going like that. I was thinking. This is my thought process. I was thinking Justin would come across it and then be like, "Who is she?" And then the whole Wattpad story. I was thinking that.
Yo, Wattpad was it back then too. That's how I first found out about 50 Shades. Before it became 50 Shades. That's how I first found out about
a lot of things. But, I mean, I still I was a famous writer on Wattpad. But it was like, it was like 1,000 people that really liked it and stuff. It was about like a superhero girl. Anyways, so it was like a fanfic or whatever. But I ghosted because, school, work. That's what I hate about it. That I had to let go of certain hobbies that I had just because, life happens or whatever. But, I think now that I'm in my adulthood, it's so weird. I feel like I'm in a transition where I want to be as childish, but as maturely childish as I can be.
Like the child is still there. It's still there. And I said 50 Shades. I got the wrong one. It was After. That was a while.
After. Yes. Oh my god.
And then they made it into a whole movie now. So, but the movie was whack. Wattpad.
The book was still good. It's a toxic as hell.
It really is.
Relationship. It was so like when I remember reading that, I was like, oh my god, like someone's neck pulling, like all this thing.
And I'm telling you, all the people in my like my grade was like reading that and like, wait, you know about really? That? Wow, yo, those were some fun times, but. Like, just even think about, like, going back to when you said, like, cartoons and, like, you know, shows and stuff like that. Like, having to, like, run up to, like, the TV because they'd be doing that 7, 8 Central, whatever, because you was not getting... Oh, my God. You got to make sure you're right on the clock. That was just a miracle. And Disney Channel, I'm telling you, superior. Like, we had That's So Raven, Kim Possible. Literally. Like, Good Luck Charlie. God. All those shows... Damn.
Cartoon Network was there for me too. Cartoon Network, I think, with my favorite cartoon of all time, like to this day, will be Teen Titans.
Yeah,
all around. Like y'all see how the Wonder Woman right there, like it's a whole thing. Like that was my show. But also too, I think what was it, Totally Spy? That was my show too.
I love Totally Spies.
Oh my god, I don't know if Winx was ever part of any of these.
Yeah,
but I think Winx was just like that.
Somewhere there.
Yeah, but it was like another show, like. Network.
Yeah, they had, you know, you had like, no, I remember Teen Nick. That was my show because
Teen Nick.
I mean, that was my channel because they had the Grassy on it, and then they had like Teen Nick Top 10. Don't ask me why, but that was bop. That was a bop. I'm telling you for sure.
Degrassi fan fiction was wild as fuck.
And if you knew, you saw Drake before he came into a rapper. So
literally, he was such a favorite memory for me. Like I remember seeing one episode, and I remember I seeing Drake again. I was like, he looked familiar, but I don't know why. Like I was like, oh shit, you had a whole acting career. Okay.
Oh wow, and like thinking of like other channels. Weirdly enough, I feel like I was always into like Lifetime and Investigation Discovery. Some point during my like teenage like. And I'm still into it. Those like my top shows now.
Yo, she a grandma with Lifetime. I swear to God, bro.
I love it. I love me my classics. Oh my gosh! But you know, sometimes I tune into. I used to tune into a little Hallmark, but I'm so old.
Little switch up.
I can't. But
I think
we had like. We was bopping to like so many things. Like we had and like different brands. We had like Apple Bottoms. We had Rockaware.
What was it? Fila? Yeah. No. Fubu's.
Ciao.
Oh my god, bro, that shit was.
It was a different story. And then when it had the song, she got them apple bottom jeans, and then you had the jeans on.
Bro, when I say the middle school dances was something else, bro.
Okay. Them middle school dances and stuff and high school dances, those was a little wild before everybody else got on, and now everybody's just standing around.
I know, like,
you know, everybody was at the time before I heard of like grinding and all that stuff. That's when I was like, everybody was like, oh, blah blah blah's dubbing. Blah blah blah, and you're like, oh! Everybody was all up in that crate in the circle.
No, for real. I think I was always in the outer part of the circle trying to see who. Like I was nosy with it. I was like, who doing what with who? Was she doing what in the grind line? I was like, yo. Like, I remember
because that was the topic for the week.
That was. I remember, you know that song, Wobble or whatever?
Oh.
Right? Say Wobble. Bitch, when I say that was the first time that I figured I had hips. I was like, yo. I was like, damn, what am I doing? Yo, it was so wild. I remember trying to appeal to my crush at that time. I was in the gymnasium trying to be like, you see
all
me
the dancers was in the gym.
It was always the gym, bro. I was like, it was so musty in there. Nobody knew how to fucking wear deodorant.
We were still growing. We was learning how to, you know, fend for our bodies. But it was just...
Yeah. High school, me and middle school. Wait, what was you like in high school and middle school? Or like, what was the transition like?
I would say, I feel like my middle school and my high school probably were a little similar, but my middle school, honestly, I mean, my elementary school, I think that's where I felt like I was a different person. Like, I'm telling you, I felt like I was, like, in the wrong crowd where I didn't fully know who I was yet. And so I was just, like, in these different groups. I mean, I had some fun times. I had, made some friends, and I still, like, see them from a distance, like, meaning, like, on social media and stuff like that. But PS 106, that was just a different time. We did talent shows, but that was when I was like, I want to say that was when I was fresh. I was trying to be a fresh little. I need somebody to humble me. I was in with the wrong crowd, and I was just like, I feel like I was just doing too much. Like right now, I think about it, I'm like, there's no way you was doing all that, and I was like, there's no way.
I was doing way too much. I think it was just because I was repressed at home. That shit. Like, I think whenever I think high school me was so different. Like each year was so different because you can ask like Trinidad. Like the way I was in freshman year is so different when I was a senior, and the way I was a senior to now is so different. I mean, obviously that's great.
Yeah, but, like, we always tell you you're the most that we felt like changed in the like time that we know you, and it was since freshman year. So
no, that was exactly probably like what it was like for them too. It was like, damn, like, because like in freshman year of high school and everything, I was still very shy, but I was also very like people pleasing too. And I remember like being very meekly and very like shy, but also too like trying to be like with the wrong crowd and stuff like that. And then sophomore year was my happy year. I don't know why, but then junior year was was off the charts because I was working, and then I was also going to school, and then during that time I feel like I was just on survival mode. But then senior year, that's when I entered my rebellion phase, and girl, that was the first time where I was really, like those plot lines in like family sitcom shows. It's like, you doing too much right now. You out here sneaking out with your little friends. You need to come back for curfew. That was me too, bro. Like literally, like I remember one time I came back. Sorry, Mom. But I remember coming back home very drunk one time, and I remember like laying in my bed. I was like, I'm a changed person, and it was like this whole entire those coming what was it, coming to life, or was it
coming to age, like the coming to age novels and stories.
It was such a coming to age moment where I was just like, I am free now. And I had this whole entire like epiphany, but I was also still hanging out with the wrong crowd too. I was hanging around people that weren't like, I mean, at the time they were fun. They were, childish or whatever, because we were like, what, 17, 18, 19 or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a complete turnaround. I feel like whenever I got to freshman year of college, I was trying to be a goody for all the times that I wasn't a goody.
Ooh, you got a past life.
I had a past life. I was just like, we can't go back into that. We can't go back to them habits, Damica. And that's why I got the bangs.
That's so funny, like, to hear about it, because like I'm just like, wow, to like knowing you from freshman year, I know you changed, but like to hear like how you were like before I got to know you, that's a different story. And I'm like, I was reckless too, because like during like early middle school, like elementary school, I think I was a very angered child, because I was getting into fights and like,
no way.
I was just like, you know what? It was this one time.
Go ahead.
We had this little beef with these group of like Hispanic like girls, and it was like me and my friends, and we was like, we was in the auditorium and we was practicing for a talent show, and because we was doing with my hair, so we did a whole choreography and stuff for that. I don't think y'all gonna find that video, so but
go ahead and find it, y'all.
After that like whole like rehearsal, whatever, they like our two groups were done or whatever, and so they sent us like back outside so we could like play, because it was during our lunchtime that we was doing a rehearsal. And so as we're all going down the like steps, and the auditorium's on a very top floor, and we gotta go outside, all the way downstairs and outside. We over there chasing each other, like over there trying to fight each other. I'm telling you. We got the ones, we were the ones that got in trouble in the long run. But I'm not gonna even say too much, but I'm just saying it was just it was wild. It was wild. But yeah, now I feel like when I went into middle school, I was the only one that got accepted into the middle school that I was going into. And so like everybody else was going to like the other school, 291. So I was like, oh, I'm coming in here with no friends, and everybody that I went to middle school with knew each other already and stuff like that. So I was trying to find like my group of friends and stuff. And then I had like my middle school / high school bestie, because we had like we had to share lockers at the time, and it wasn't even big lockers. It was like small lockers, like the
really?
Yeah, so that's how we became friends, and then we was riding it all throughout high school. But like I feel like throughout high school I was definitely more calm. I think going into that school, it made me become a calmer person. Because I just felt like I had so much built up that I was just like, okay, why are we fighting for it? At this point, it was just no reason, like any little thing, and I just wanted to like, I don't know. I just felt always like outside of the groups, and then I came to the point where I was like, oh, now by like high school, like middle school, like late middle school, I was like in all these different friend groups and stuff like that, and I didn't even realize that was someone like who I would be. And so even now, like I feel like I'm like, oh, it's crazy, like if you get to know me, because I was told I'm the most antisocial social person ever. And I'm just
that's
that's mad funny, because I'm like now I'm like very very to myself, I feel like. But yeah, wow. But I was always studious. That was one thing that I carried throughout.
Same. I think I always had to be, because I think that was the only thing I could control in my life and everything. So I was like, yeah, let me do that. But like everything else, like I think puberty really hit me like a truck, bro. Like, so many like I really like the way I looked in freshman year to like of high school to like senior year of high school, then to like now to from freshman year of college to now and everything, or like I don't know. That's why I'm a really firm believer that like we still in puberty mode. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think that
like,
too. Because I'm like, I don't think we're done yet. I'm like probably at 30.
Probably at 30. You know, hopefully. You know, I think 30 is gonna be. I'm so excited to be 30. Y'all don't understand.
She said I'm excited.
I really am. I don't know. I'm excited for my 20s in general, because I feel like I think I've learned. Even though I'm only 22, I feel like I've already seen shit like so much and anything that I'm like, you know, trying to approach 25 on like trying to approach 25 with a very, you know, tread lightly type of thing. I'm like, let's make sure nothing else happens. But you know, like I think what's really crazy is how do you feel like who you are now? Like if you could, because I've seen this trend on TikTok where it was like, what if your like 15, 16-year-old self had to meet your now self? Like what would that be like?
Damn, that's crazy. I'm just like I'm more to myself than anything. And I just feel like it's always crazy to just see where I'm at. I feel like I'm just very work motivated, like, and I'm like very focused on one like particular goal right now, like in my life, and that's like, you know, finishing up college and like looking like career wise. I feel like some grown things, and I'm only like 21, but I'm like, I feel like my 15-year-old self was kind of just still trying to like figure out like who I was as a person. And I didn't know how to take things like really well. Like I was the type of person, I was the crier. And
same.
So I think I didn't have like as much faith in myself back then, or I would say I was more of the follower than the leader. And now I'm kind of like, I really don't give two shits. I'm just doing me,
Literally.
and
Yeah.
just kind of like I have the goal. I'm just like very focused on like where I want to go in life. So like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's crazy. But what about you?
I would have to switch the age around because I don't know because I think my 15-year-old self would just not believe me. Like,
Mhm.
but I think if I had to meet, I think the one age that I've always like returned to fondly, just because I was like, oh, you such a little bad kid. Like, is I think maybe my 18-year-old self, 18 to 17 to
Mm.
18, primarily 18 to 19 too, but 18, but 18-year-old self meeting my 22-year-old self, I think when I was 18, I was very angry at the world and everything. I
Mhm.
was very, like, I was, like, fed up with, like, shit, why does everything always have to happen? Like, I was dealing with family issues, I was dealing with, like, school issues, and I was, dealing with issues as me as a person and everything. I was, like, I'm tired of, like, kind of going, like, being, like, the background character in everyone
Yeah.
else's, like, stories and stuff, and emotionally, I didn't know how to handle my
Oh,
emotions.
that definitely
I,
wasn't me. That was like my
yeah,
senior year.
yeah, like I remember like my automatic response to everything was crying because I just didn't know how to like process like certain stuff. And I think I took it out on vices with like drinking and stuff like that, and like
Mhm.
going out too much and stuff, and just being messy. But I mean, the messy time that I was in, I think it was because I was just so lost and everything. I was
Yeah.
so hurt too during that time. So I think, when you act out in that way, now looking back at it, I'm like, oh, that poor baby, like she just
Mhm.
needs a hug type of thing. So I feel like now, I'm still working on it, but I will say that even though I've had a lot of misslips in my life, and I've had a lot of setbacks and stuff like that up until this point, from this point on, I feel more confident in myself. I feel more rest assured because like there's nothing I think when I was 18 that I couldn't control. Like there's
Mhm.
certain things that I was like, you know what, it is what it is. And I think that was what I was struggling to come to terms with is, some things you have to let it be and
Yeah.
everything. Because
And
in
that's
the
how I feel
end,
right now.
yeah, your pathway is gonna open. And I feel like my pathway right now is opening. I think for the longest I felt so unsure of my writing. I felt so unsure about myself as a
Mm.
person, and who did I want to speak out to? And eventually it came to a point where I was like, I want to be able to be there for um, people who have experienced the same things I've experienced and everything. Rewrite to them and everything, and be in communities that are doing great things and stuff like that, and be part of the communities that are doing great
Mhm.
things. I think that's the one thing I always want to aspire to is you know when I say I want to be as maturely childish as I can be, I think for me that's like returning back to the things that make me happy, because
Yeah.
those are the things that inspired me. Those are the things that made me into the person I am today. So I
Mhm.
think um, even though I want to be like a magazine writer, I also want to go into sex work. I also want to go into fashion and makeup, and I also want to be a mentor for other people and everything, and just be kind of like a big sister role model. I feel like
Yeah.
that's what I see myself as with my 18-year-old self. Is I see her as like my little sister that's acting reckless, acting up, being a fool or whatever, and then I see myself now being like that big sister role, being like, okay, you done? All right. Let's
Yeah.
go ahead and meditate. Let's go ahead and talk. But I think, to get to that point though, I think that for me, it just took a lot of support. It took a lot of therapy. It took a lot of healing, and um, yeah, I think like you said, like right now there's so many goals I have in my head and everything. I think right now it's just working towards them at my pace,
Yeah.
at my pace.
And like just going back, I feel like also too, like just to think of like I feel like this is definitely the time where I'm still working on things and like figuring things out. And I realized
Mm-hmm.
too, I feel like because I've always been very work focused, how important it is also just to have time for yourself and not like you're gonna get there eventually.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
if you can enjoy like things that are going on or like be in the moment, because you're never gonna get that back. Like that's just something that
Never.
it just doesn't live. And I feel like sometimes I don't allow myself to be in a moment, because I'm always like, oh, I need to do this, because I'm like looking towards like my career, or something that's just like very work focused and heavy. And I'm like, me back then, I always just wanted to be part of the crew. And I was like, you don't need to do that, and like you just like appreciate like the friends that you do have, and like the time that you have within yourself. And I think that's a lot of it. I feel like I was very lost and focused on like where I wanted. I know for a very long time, like since 4th or 5th grade, that I wanted to do like writing. And so that's why we're into But now I'm kind of like, okay, we knew that, so let's take the time to actually enjoy like the phases of life that you're going through. But yeah, and before we like end this off, I think it's very important that we explain how we became friends, because I feel like it's part of like how DamnBoo like
right.
It wouldn't even be DamnBoo if we didn't even meet. So
I think for me, so basically we've been in the same classes before. We were in one other class together in freshman year and everything of the first semester.
Freshman year, man.
Girl, like I remember seeing you, and I remember thinking, I was like, oh, I kind of want to be her friend, but I was like, I didn't want to be like, I didn't have like the social energy. I didn't know how to approach. I was like,
that's the same thing. I'm like, I'm not about to like. I wasn't really like an approach person too. I still like really like I'm not really either approachable. Like I won't go to you first, but if you talk to me, babes, I'll talk to you.
Exactly, and that's how I had that. So go into our second semester. We were in another class together.
Yo, I'm telling you, we stayed being in each other's class. Year after year.
It had to be, bro. It was just like, y'all not gonna talk. All right, next class.
And I always knew. I was like, I saw her, and I was just like, oh, she's the girl that sit on the other side of the room, because our classes was split into two different like sides, and we never sat near each other, nothing, like never had a group project where we worked together. I just saw her, and I was like, I know who, like she looked familiar, she's on the other side of the room.
Same. Like I remember I was like, I've seen her on campus before.
Yeah, she's in my class.
Like,
but I was like, that don't mean I gotta go up and talk to her.
I ain't talking to who. But at the same time too, I did not have no friends, and I think that the day that we met, so we were walking out of class, and I just got this new jacket or whatever. It was a puffer jacket, and
because she from North Wacky, y'all. She was out here playing games with the weather.
First off, it's real cold. Okay, it's real. I don't know how y'all Northerners do this, but it's too cold.
She is 31.
It's too sturdy. It's too windy. But we passed by each other. I don't know who talked first, but I remember you said something about my jacket. And I was like, oh, thank you. I love
Did
your
I?
jacket.
I feel like I felt like it was you that said something. Oh, probably it was me. But we was the only two people in the hallway. That's mad funny, because I was like on my way to go meet Sky. At that point, I already had like I knew Alexis and Sky, because we had met like very early on in the semester. But I was just kind of like, I'm comfortable with like, my group of people that I know already. So I wasn't really looking for no friends. I was like, literally. And then she's like, we like talk, like, I'm like, I must have said, yeah, like I like a jacket or something like that. Not knowing that I was going to make a friend, because I was looking at her, I was like, how she just take the compliment and just go about her day, because I was just trying to be her friend.
No, I was pushing it, because I was like, bitch, I'm really lonely right now.
And I was like, I'm not trying to make no new friends. I don't know about
you. I was so lonely, bro. You understand? I was like, I had no friends.
I was over here trying to reject. I was like, how can I?
Look, Scorpio and me had to take over, because I was like, so what you about to do? You were like, oh, I'm about to go eat. And then that's when, I don't know if you invited me or if I invited myself, but either or, I was sitting at the table with you and Sky.
Yeah, I was like, not me out here. Because I was like, the first group of people who we met on campus kind of just like vanished like that. Like we know, like see them time to time, like here and there. But Um, I was just like, I don't even know if she's gonna, because I was going to lunch with Sky, so I was like, not me inviting somebody else, and just like, then we became friends. I was like, at first, what were your like first impressions? Because I was over here like,
fuck, what does Sky make me call her? Harriet or some shit
Harris?
like that?
I was like, why she did that?
I was like, bro, I remember being like, all right, Harris. And like, she was just like, thank you. And I think that's when we like clicked. But like, I think for you and me, we just like clicked over like maybe like TV shows or something. We just kept talking, and then we just like, I think over time we got more comfortable. I think I want to say the time that we all solidified our friendship or whatever was when you know how I used to stand so far back from the door when I knocked on
she was mad at going in. Okay, that's how you knew too. Because we was inviting like, at this point, that's how you knew like you became friends. Because people would come to the suite like a regular. But you always stand mad far back from the door, and I'm like, girl, if you don't. She was over there, Miss Shy.
Yeah, I was shy. I just didn't. I felt like I was too all up in the door, and then you were like, "Bro, why are you falling back?" And you didn't open the door one time, and I think
I said you gonna stand outside there by yourself.
I said, "Open the fuck up." Everybody's like, I was like, "Ooh," so we in the group now.
Yeah, and then it just became mad comfortable. I'm telling you, when I first saw Damica, I was like, she's cute, whatever, but I was just like, I don't know. That's about it. I was like,
too late. You stuck with me,
I was looking at, no, it's funny because we talked about this before, and I was like, I didn't even think I was gonna be your friend. But look, here we are. I mean, we be over here fighting. We just fought yesterday.
We did.
I almost knocked out. I'm joking, guys, but
she wasn't. I asked if she wanted to take it outside or inside. It's okay.
She was over there pressed. But you know. I mean, eventually y'all seen how DamnBoo is unfolding. But, I mean, to wrap up Vent Pals, what are you looking towards to in the future?
I'm looking towards... I feel like I found peace as of now. So I think right now I'm looking towards more adventures, more experiences. You know, I still want to travel the world. I still... want to, you know, take my writing craft to another level and everything. I have a lot of hobbies, and I feel like I want to see those go into full fruition. So I hope my future aspirations is to continuously grow in whatever field I'm in, and foster that growth and embrace it, however it may be. How about you, friend?
Yeah, career-wise, I feel like for a while now I've been saying in the long run I want to be a travel journalist, so I hope that happens. I definitely just want to learn more about other people's cultures, in different communities and stuff like that, and I feel like coming from New York City and then coming here to Boston, I could definitely see the dynamics is different. It's real different, but
very different.
Just kind of like seeing how other people approach or like grew up. I think it's really interesting too, just to be like in a dorm room and seeing like how different people grew up from different parts of the world. But overall, I think I just want to, like you said, like peace. I think that's one thing. Another thing is just being comfortable within my own like mindset, even though I feel like I've gotten into that a little bit, like not giving too much care about like what other people think. I think your biggest like enemy is yourself, and so I feel like what I'm trying to learn now, I can't really like think for the future, because that's like it could change in a matter of quickness. So but just saying like being in the moment, enjoying the moment, and just continuing to work hard to whatever it is that I'm doing. You know, we got about next year, so we graduate. Then and also trying different things, like being even more open. I feel like I've definitely learned a lot and tried a lot of new things since coming from high school, and I'm just excited for whatever comes.
Well said, friend. Well said. Well, That's it for Ven Pals. We're gonna move on to a messier side of our show.
Yeah, I already know.
Diaries.
Okay, so here we are with the Shamble Diaries. So this episode we're gonna be talking about Khloe Kardashian's 4-part essay in which a whole essay, child, on social media.
Boy.
And mad people was like, I'm not reading that. I'm sorry. And just like that whole like meme with the text like, oh, I'm sorry for you, or whatever, it's like, I'm sorry for you, I understand, but I'm not reading that. And I hope you're okay, but I was like, y'all be clowning on Twitter for real.
Funny though.
But she came out with like some notes. I don't even know what to call it. Let's say it's just an essay, the paragraphs, okay?
It was polished. It was very polished.
It was never before seen, okay? Aesthetic wise, I give it an A. You know,
I give it an A. Yeah, it was very.
You know, I'm gonna grade it
Canva, very Canva, maybe.
It was cute. You know, context wise, I don't know about A, but
you're gonna have to explain it to me, friend, because you know I took my week off of social media, so
yeah, she out here taking social media breaks. So she's, you know, the fault is on me. And y'all know, if you know me, I don't even really be on social media like that. So, we gonna be struggling here.
It's okay.
But she came out with a 4-part, explanation of, there was this picture that was released of her and her body. And she didn't agree with the photo coming out, or she didn't want it posted by whoever posted the photo. And so she basically went on to like a whole explanation. I mean, you could call it a rant basically too, of her addressing like, you know, people should have the right over the control of if, you know, images of them are released, and if, you know, someone says they don't want that picture released, they shouldn't. And, you know, we saw her transform over the time that she was in the light of the media, but also as like a young child, all the way until like right currently where she's at right now. And so she's kind of like, I think you guys should respect that. Okay, that's the part where I was like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, if you don't want a photo of you out there that someone is posting, you know, you do have the right to be like, can you take it down, all this and all that.
Right.
And then she goes on to explain like, well, you know, she's not asking for like sympathy in a way, but people should respect her as a human, especially people should acknowledge her humanism, because she is still a person that still gets attacked on the internet and all that stuff. And she's like, even though I've grown up with this privilege, some people are like, oh, you put yourself there, especially being, you know, on the reality show that her and her family has. But I'm like, it kind of like contradicted itself and stuff like that, because it was, I didn't understand like what the after effect was of it, and then kind of just like what she as a person has done in her past to others that are not that probably weren't comfortable with their body or how their body was displayed, because she did attack several other people, especially too, and we're like, yeah, we do understand in which you have your own privacy and people should respect it, and but at the same time it was like you was still putting down these other women as well, and it was, she apparently like not too long ago when she was like 33 or something like that, she had posted a photo of Chloe Grace Moretz, and basically I guess like attacking her while she was 19. And so it's like, you gotta realize how this is gonna come full force, because you know, people bringing out receipts of how you was reacting in the past. And then after that whole explanation too, there was also a video on IG about that she was just showing off like her body, and you know, do what you gotta do, but it just, I think the meaning behind it was different because it was like, well, were you posing to, you know, come like satisfy other people's like opinions, or like, you know, try to do something about haters? And that's where it was kind of like, okay, now I don't understand your message, because it kind of seems like now you're just taking this to, I don't know, do some grimy, revengeful stuff. And I was just like, this, you
Yeah.
taking away the whole point. And just to think like, she's like, I never asked to be put in this spotlight of like, you know, being looked to as a role model. But there's so many people that, you know, either like go in for like surgery or want to
Mhm.
have like features of what the Kardashians look like. And I
Mhm.
think you enforce that in a way too, because you like had like you put forward what it is that you think society should kind of like look like,
Mm.
or, you know, it's kind of like, she's like, oh yeah, it's the same thing, I like Photoshop and all that, it's like the same thing like getting my hair and nails done. But at the same time, it's kind of sending off this message, like, especially to younger individuals that look up to them, this is like the type of beauty standards that you have, or this is where you can be
Mhm.
accepted. There's no shame in, you know, um, being able to transform, or, you know, expressing your body the way you want to. But I think there's just some things that's just like need to be addressed.
Yeah, I mean, especially with her family, like continuously stealing from very explicit parts of Black culture and
Mm-hmm.
everything. It's sort of just like, did you like you didn't necessarily put yourself in the spotlight, all right, but you agreed to be part of the show. You never
Yeah.
left. You never, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to take accountability there. You
Yeah.
kind of have to take accountability for the way that you are portraying. So, like, you are possibly, like, you are definitely one of those models that are constantly looked at,
Mm-hmm.
especially within your family and everything. So people looking at that and seeing the way that it's photoshopped, the ways that your body, like, my body modifications to me don't really matter as much. It's just the fact that you are purporting it as like natural, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
natural. Like, you have work done, and it's okay to if you have work
And
done. Like, girl,
yeah, it's like, it's no shame in all that, but if you're gonna go
right.
ahead and be like, oh, this is natural, and then write in your essay that, oh yeah, you love a little filter and Photoshop here and there and all this, then is it really natural?
Yeah, I mean, I would be transparent. Like, if I'm modifying my body in that type of way, I'd be transparent. Like, yeah, girl, it's Photoshop. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to look a little like this or whatever. But like, in the end of the day, like, to say that you're not, that's the problem. That's the issue, because now you're making a whole nother narrative saying that this is what body beauty looks like
Mm-hmm.
naturally, and if you don't have this, then what you doing? You know, and that's not the message we needed to put out there.
Yeah, for sure. We just hope. I mean, especially if you're not asking. Yeah, we know you didn't ask to be a role model to people, but I think you have to understand that you do have an influence on how people, um, you know, look up to you, or like react to certain things, or um, want to, you know, have all these changes, and look for
Right.
you to inspiration. So I think it's better that you just take accountability of like what it is that you're doing and where you're coming, like what the approach
Yeah.
is. And you can't be contradicting yourself, okay?
Absolutely not. Like, maybe you're not a role model, but you are, like, in everybody's like explore page
Mhm.
and constantly being like mass produced in all types of media. So it's
Mhm.
like, I mean, you a brand, so people are gonna brand the the way that
Yeah.
you are putting yourself out there. So
Yeah, and it's like within the whole like framework of everything that you do, cuz it's like, even though you got to think of too, like, you know, the type of like image or like context that you're putting out there, and not to even forget about your past as well, of um if you're dragging other women down for how their body looks like or
exactly,
stuff like that, that now it's
exactly.
like, okay, where's the real issue, sweetheart?
Right.
And
We
I
ain't
think,
forget.
yep. So we out here wrapping up this episode. We know it was a long one, but hopefully y'all enjoyed it. But what do you
Yeah.
have for mention and intention this week?
So I have two things.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I wanted to mention was, I think we've talked a little bit about embracing new chapters, embracing the changes as it goes on through life. And I know that's easier said than done, but I think another part of that too is, not letting the past hold you back. You know what I'm saying? I think there's so much things that did happen to us in the past, whatever histories that look like or whatever, but at the end of the day, we can't control them. All we can do now is be in the present and everything. And
Yeah, for sure.
I think embracing those new chapters requires you to let go of some things in the past, and make peace with it or cope with it. I think making peace with it is the way I had to do it, because letting go of it felt too abrasive and everything. But I think making peace with what happened and everything, in various parts of my life, whether I was struggling with anxiety and depression, or if I was struggling with different parts of my trauma history and everything, with sexual trauma, or even just like family issues and stuff like that. I think there's so many things that you can't really control in that end. So in the end of the day, I think embracing new chapters allows you to not be stuck in those times. You know what I'm saying? But I think the second part of that is pour into your cup before you pour into others, because I think
I like that.
Yeah, because we can't, I think a lot of the things that I do now, I want to do it because I want to help people and everything, but I know I can't do that if my cup is empty, dry, arid, nothing in there. So I gotta pour into my cup, not only just to help others though, but to also pour into my cup because it's my cup. I deserve that. I deserve to be able to feel fulfillment, be able to feel whole, and all the things that I do. And even the days where I do struggle with mental health or emotions or whatever, just things happen. Healing isn't linear, so you gotta deal with the ups and downs, the dips and lows or whatever. But I think pouring into your cup continuously with love, with support, with warmth, with reassurance, with confidence, whatever that looks like for you, do that, because you absolutely cannot spread yourself into other cups of other people's or whatever other spaces if you don't do it to yourself first. So
Yeah, that's mad important, because how you about to give everybody else all your energy, and now you don't even got energy for yourself for the next minute or the next hour or the next day.
literally,
And it's like you can only give so much that your body just starts letting you down. So but for me, I just want to keep practicing how to be unapologetic, and not being afraid to make any mistakes. Bro, this is life, okay?
Yeah.
Life is, as we're lucky to have lived this long, and so we don't know everything. I think that's just one thing that I definitely learned over time. You're not gonna know everything. It's okay to ask for help, but it's also okay to be able to make mistakes. And the point is that you learn from it, and not saying you can't do this, and you have to be perfect all the time. And sometimes even the happiest people are some of the saddest people, because it's just kind of this energy of not being able to be really them, or having to express what is it that they think other people need from them, when it's just be you. And I feel as I grow more and more, I'm learning about the things that I like or would like for the future, and not taking too much into consideration of what other people think of me, because in the long run you're gonna have haters and you're gonna have appreciators, okay? Not everybody has to like you, and you don't have to like everybody else. I think that's one thing that runs in a cycle. You don't have to please everybody, and the world wasn't meant for that, because it's so we would all be having the same thoughts, and we'd be having all the same reactions and actions. So at that point, don't be afraid to be you, especially growing up. It's different when you see in the long run, like, of who you become. But I think as you take the time and just get to learn more about yourself, don't let other people downplay you and, play you. And because, some of the trends that wasn't cool back then is now on and bopping now, and you was probably one of the main ones. So
Yep.
and I just wanted to, like, make sure you feel all right with yourself, and just make sure that you as a person understand what is it that you want, because in the end of the day, right, the life is yours. And when you feel satisfied with whatever it is that you want, you can do better, mentally and physically. And so, yeah, I'm just like, take it day by day, okay? Appreciate what it is that you do have, and always learn to work and build on yourself. I think that's something we always trying to do, and that's why we be rolling out here with different projects, figuring out what it is that we do. And it's all right if your thoughts change over time about things you do like or you don't like, because that's all right.
I think that's such an important message because, and I think I was talking about this with you yesterday, where, even though, sorry if y'all hear that, but even though I may feel a certain type of way, I may seek a validation from others or whatever, I'm never gonna feel fulfilled by that validation because I don't believe in myself. If I'm asking if other people how I feel about my body or how I feel about my looks, how I feel about what I'm doing in my career, my life, whatever, if I'm asking constantly from them and they give me that band-aid temporary reassurance, or maybe the opposite or whatever, it's not gonna matter in the long run because that's not what I believe. You know what I'm saying? So I think, working from the inside out and not giving a fuck whatever anyone else has to say about it, I think that's the biggest thing to be.
And just knowing, a lot people do prey on other people's downfall. But I think as long as you got your back, you can push through it, and not pay too much mind about that, especially growing up as a black or brown creative in this world. I think it's very hard to kind of achieve that, because if you're looking to please someone, there's as soon as you fulfill this one step, there's something else they're gonna expect of you, and it keeps going. Something else, as you feel that one expectation, something else they're gonna expect of you, and so you don't want to live down that path. And we're all just, I mean, we're young for our age, and we still got a lot. So,
no, for real. Exactly. Like, I think for the longest time, I struggled with the thought that I felt broken and everything. Like, I felt like there was something wrong with me, and that, that stems from a lot of, deep-rooted insecurities, deep-rooted trauma, or deep-rooted things with people, relationships. I think regardless of whatever point or interaction you have with yourself in your life or whatever, don't let anybody tell you who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, who you represent, because in the end of the day, like, it's all you, baby. Like, it's you the one that's waking up every day with yourself. It's you that's doing the dang thing for whatever it is. People are they're gonna say what they're gonna say regardless.
Yeah, and it's not something is wrong with you. It's just that this society has not come to understanding more individuals, from time to time.
Yeah.
But we're gonna wrap it up. That is it for this episode. And we want to say thank you to everyone that's been listening, that's has been following our whole journey throughout this podcast, and even possibly before. And we do have something special coming up very soon. So we hope y'all can definitely be present, because we looking forward to hearing from y'all, and hopefully y'all enjoy that. But I mean, I know we keep edging this on. We can't just, we're not allowed to announce it yet. But yeah, thank you to everyone again, and thank you to our team: Skylar Figueroa, who's our marketing manager; Alexis Metcalf, our videographer and editor; and our sound engineer, Kim Knopf; and also our waveform team. And I also want to just say, this month is Autism Awareness Month, so make sure that you're being more present about learning how to be an ally and how to help other individuals as well. And as we record this, tomorrow will be Ramadan, so happy Ramadan. Eid Mubarak to everybody.
Yep.
And we're also like the remembrance of Holocaust victims had just passed as well. So we want to take the time and make sure that we acknowledge all the things that's going on. I believe they call it Yom HaShoah. And instead of just, that's I recently learned that's more respectful. Some people prefer that.
Right.
But yeah, I'll keep rambling. Thank you guys. And
thank you.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. We'll see y'all later.
Yep. Bye. We out of here.